The name John or Jane Doe is used as a placeholder in cases where the deceased's identity is not immediately known. For some, this placeholder is temporary, and after a few hours or weeks, they can claim their name back. Some are not so lucky though, with some Doe cases sitting unsolved for decades without much hope of being solved. Here are 5 bizarre John and Jane Doe cases. Number 5. On September 8, 2004, 2 elk hunters discovered the body of a man who had become known as the Flat Tops John Doe in White River National Forest, Colorado. His skeletal remains were found inside a Perth, Australia branded sleeping bag that was inside a collapsed tent. Due to the state of decomposition, he was found wearing only brown and black size 9 Timberland hiking boots, and his trousers had almost completely rotted away. Investigators were called to the scene immediately, and inside the tent they found items that appeared as though the man had been planning on camping for quite a while. He had sufficient supplies and the tools that he would have needed to survive, possibly indicating that he was experienced in hiking and camping. The equipment included a blue and black JanSport branded backpack, a blue hairbrush, a bottle of Tylenol, earplugs, razor blades, and numerous other self-care items and 20 unfiltered Camel cigarettes. The theory that he'd become stranded was quickly ruled out after this discovery. Investigators also found a roll of 6 $100 bills that were dated to 1999, meaning that the date of his death could be anywhere from 1999 to 2004. The Doe's equipment appeared almost military-like, with various canteens, pots and pans, butane lighters, a water filtration kit, and a repair kit, all being found inside of the collapsed tent. However, these were far from the only things found with Doe. Investigators uncovered a green spiral-bound notebook that contained several pages of writings. The pages say, "Lib, I should write in case my situation here doesn't improve. This may be the end of my journey. Would like for you to claim the body. Services or memorial cremation." The rest of the notebook sadly proves not to be legible after the first passage, with the CBI only being able to make out key sections. One point reads, "Third choice, take them up a glider. I promise not to get sick on you." Some armchair detectives have pointed to the fact that Doe was likely Australian, given the branding of the gear along with the use of the name Lib. Lib is a common nickname for Elizabeth in Australia, whereas in the US it would more likely be Liz. The Flat Tops Jane Doe was between 27 and 65 years old, white, 5'11" and 6'2". His weight, hair color, and eye color are all unknown due to the remains being skeletal. What we do know is that he suffered from serious degeneration in his back and neck that would have caused him immense pain. This links to the theory that Flat Tops John Doe went on one last hiking expedition as he anticipated that his condition would render him unable to do so in the coming months or years. It seems that sadly our Doe fell ill on his trip and left notes to his loved ones with his last wishes. Fingerprints and DNA are unavailable, however we do have dental records available for comparison. He had extensive dental work done that included gold crowns, bridges, and fillings in most of his teeth, indicating that at some point he'd been affluent enough to afford these. If you have any information on the Flat Tops John Doe, you're urged to contact the Garfield County Sheriff's Office on 970-945-1377, quoting the case number 041656. While the information may feel insignificant, it could be a break in the case that's needed to reunite this Doe with his family and bring him home to rest in peace. Number 4. At 2:30 a.m., Knox County Police were called to a disturbance at a home on Jim Sturgey Road, Knox County, Tennessee. The 2 occupants of the home, Jennifer Northern and Tammy Holt, reported that a woman was at the door screaming, "He has a knife." In a state of shock, the girls rang 911 immediately and told the woman to move away from the house and that police were on their way. Instead, the woman ran towards them and opened a screen door. Jennifer was holding a 12-gauge shotgun, either as a way of intimidating the woman into leaving or to defend herself if necessary. As the woman rushed towards them, Jennifer shot once, killing the young woman instantly. For 33 years, the identity of this woman, who was killed on June 1st, 1987, has remained a mystery. even to those who'd been in her company the night prior. On the night of May 30th, 1987, two men picked up our Doe at a rest stop in Greene County, Tennessee. The only clue they were able to give investigators was the name Tina and the place of Illinois. The woman agreed that she would aid the two men in robbing a nearby home, and they hatched a plan. The Doe was to create a diversion by making out as if a fight or argument was going on. Then the two men would storm the house and rob the occupants. Sadly, as we know, the events transpired into a tragedy that evening. Shotgun Jane Doe is described as being between the ages of 21 and 30, 5'4" to 5'6", and 100 to 120 pounds. She has brown hair and brown eyes, a tattoo of the initials BH on her upper forearm. In her short life, she'd suffered numerous injuries. She had a healed clavicle, a healed broken wrist, a healed broken tibia, two broken tibias, and a broken fibula that were being held in place with metal pins. Isotope testing has revealed that she may have spent time in the following states, including Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia, New Jersey, Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, and Minnesota. On the night of her death, she was wearing a Miami Dolphins jersey with the number 32 on the back, light blue pants, white socks, tennis shoes, and a metal bracelet. Fingerprints, DNA, and dentals are all available for comparison via the appropriate databases. If you have any information, no matter whether you think it's big or small, you're urged to contact the Knox County Sheriff's Office at 865-215-37057. Number 3. On April 3rd, 1978, the residents of McLennan County, Texas, were alerted to a horrific discovery. A deceased man was found in a drainage ditch east of the interstate exit to Hewitt. The man was wearing a long-sleeved front-button shirt in a white and blue pattern, a pair of size 32 blue Levi jeans, white, red, and blue socks with size brown boots. He was wearing a white shell necklace with large beads, and a large Snoopy medallion was found close to his body. He quickly became known as Disco Dan to investigators due to his tattoos. They appeared to be poor quality and possibly done by someone who was not a professional. He had a cross inside of a heart on his upper left forearm, a tattoo of the initials RB on his upper right arm, and his left forearm had the word peace tattooed across it. Not much else is known about Disco Dan, as the scene of the discovery is not thought to be the scene of his death. His death was ruled a homicide by gunshot, and investigators have been stumped ever since his discovery. The medical examiner estimated that he died just days prior to his discovery, as the remains were decomposed with remnants of soft tissue. Disco Dan is described as 20 to 30 years old, a white male, 5'8" and 128 pounds. He has light brown shoulder-length hair with a mustache and goatee and brown eyes. Fingerprints and dentals are available, with DNA sadly not being available in this case. If you have any information, you're urged to contact Sergeant Chad Castings of the Hewitt Police Department on 254-666-6272, quoting the case number 780010. Number 2. Charlie McLeod of Tofield, Alberta, was in the process of installing a new septic tank to his house. He realized he needed a pump and decided to utilize one from an abandoned farmhouse just behind his. When he reached into the septic tank, he was greeted with more than just waste. Inside, McLeod found the body of a man who has become known as Septic Tank Sam. The details of his death are extremely graphic and include torture and mutilation. The medical examiner commented that the mutilation was so severe that it took them months to determine the gender of the doe. He'd been tied up before being burned with a torch and cigarettes. His genitals had been mutilated, and the cause of his death was determined to be a gunshot to the head or chest. Whoever killed him knew that the farmhouse was unoccupied and that the body of his victim would unlikely be found there. If it wasn't for McLeod needing a new pump, Septic Tank Sam may have remained hidden forever. In addition to being tortured and shot, Sam was then wrapped in bed sheets and placed headfirst into the abandoned septic tank that had been filled with water and limestone. In Sam's case, the limestone had the opposite effect of what the killers had wanted. Due to the presence of limestone, his body had dried out and remained well preserved. Septic Tank Sam is described as a male between the ages of 26 and 40. He's 5'5" to 5'7" and weighs 145 to 165 pounds. He has brown hair with his eye color being unknown. He's of a medium build, right-handed, and has a few fillings and other minor dental work. He was found wearing a blue Levi work shirt with a gray t-shirt underneath, blue jeans, gray wool socks, and a brown wallaby-style shoes. His clothing has led many to believe that he was a farm or construction worker and may have been transient, traveling around Alberta looking for work. Dentals and DNA are available for comparison, and if you have any information, you're urged to contact the Chief Medical Examiner's Office of Alberta at 780-427-4987, quoting the case number 769077. Number 1. The case of the Christmas Tree Lady is perhaps one of the saddest Doe cases, and this is in no way meant to take away from the sadness and pain of the other cases, but this is a particularly harrowing case. On December 18, 1996, a groundskeeper at Pleasant Valley Memorial Cemetery in Annandale, Virginia, came across the remains of a woman who was laid in the infant section of the cemetery. It's to be noted that she was not laid next to a particular grave in the infant section. She'd taken her own life by drinking brandy, taking Valium, and suffocating herself. She was also found to be listening to a cassette player with the tape of Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner doing a comedy routine. Around her body was a plastic sheet, an 8-inch Christmas tree that glittered with gold and red ribbons. On the plastic sheet were two $50 bills with instructions that one was to be given to the coroner and one to the cemetery. She had also placed a note which read, "Deceased by own hand. Prefer no autopsy. Please order cremation with funds provided. Thank you, Jane Doe." Christmas Tree Woman was found wearing a teal all-weather jacket, a navy blue jumper, a red silk sleeveless shirt, navy blue wool pants, knee-high stockings, a white bra, underwear, and a pair of size 7 loafers. Due to the brands of her clothes, investigators believe they all came from high-end stores, such as Saks. She had 2 clip-on earrings, a gold Guess brand watch, a 14-karat gold ring with jade stones, and a medical alert necklace that read "No Code DNR." We also know that she wore bifocal glasses. The Christmas Tree Lady is described as being anywhere from 50 to 70 years old, white, 5 feet tall, and 157 pounds. She has auburn red curly hair and her eye color is listed as unknown. She also has an 8-inch scar which is indicative of a C-section. Dentals, fingerprints, and DNA are all available for Christmas Tree Lady. If you have any information, you're urged to contact the Northern District Medical Examiner's Office on 703-530-2600, quoting case number N199641257. One of the most important things in these cases is finding the identities of those who are no longer able to speak for themselves. We should endeavor to bring them home to their loved ones and fight for justice on their behalf. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But I've been Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.